Hi, I'm John Stevenson, and we're going to be talking about noun inflections in our continuing study of biblical languages. An inflection is a changing of the form of a word to allow it to perform different functions. For example, I can talk about to run, he ran, someone was running, all the same from the same root word, but different forms of the word. So we can have she or her, depending on how I'm using it in a sentence. She does something, this belongs to her. A child or children, we don't say child's, to make it into a plural. We actually change the form. Normally in English, we put an S on the end of the word, and that turns it from a singular to a plural. But there's a number of words that are quite different than that. Speak, speaking, speaks, spoke, spoken. We can even say in older English, he spake. All different forms of the same basic root word. So that I use different forms for different functions. Now, there are two basic types of inflection. There is declension, which involves changes that take place in nouns. And there is conjugation. I conjugate a verb, so it involves changes in verbs. Sometimes, if we're not careful, we use these sort of interchangeably. Right now, we're talking about nouns. We'll come to verbs in a future class, and I'm only going to reference English nouns right now. It's going to be a very short session. Nouns have case. I like to say they're all packed up with somewhere to go. But a case is the form that the noun takes. So a noun can be the subject of a sentence, that which does the action of the verb. For example, I can say, the boy let's see, the boy threw the ball. That would work. The boy is the subject. He's the one that does the action of the verb. Then, of course, through is the verb. I'm not talking about verbs right now. And then the direct object, that is that thing which is directly affected by the action of the verb. So the boy threw the ball. The ball is the direct object. And so a subject that's going to be, and we're going to learn some new terms next time. We'll talk about the subject being in the nominative case, but we'll save that for next time. And then the direct object, that's going to be largely in what we call the accusative case. In other words, it's going to be done to that object. So I have case, I have function, and let's look at an example. In the nominative case, that's going to be the subject of the sentence. He took my book. The boy threw the ball. Notice he is the subject of the sentence, so that's going to be in the basic and or nominative case. Next, I'm going to describe what we have the possessive. In Greek, we're going to refer to that as the genitive. But right now we're still speaking in English. So the possessive case here, he took my book. It was mine. It belonged to me. You don't say he took I book, even though I'm the one there. Or you don't say he took me book. It's my book. That's showing possession. We're going to show how those terms can show possession in Greek. And then finally, the objective. This is the mood of the direct object. He took my book. The book, it was the thing that he took. Notice the action took place on the book. It didn't take place on he, didn't even take place in my, but it took place on the book. English uses word order to determine the function. Greek actually does not. Greek is going to change the form of the word. That's going to be very different. We'll start to see that next week. I also want to talk about gender inflections. Two more things. One is gender inflections. For regular words, we might refer to a king. How do I say that in in the feminine gender? Of course, we have masculine, feminine, and also we have neuter. Now, some things can't really be neuter, so you can have a king and a queen, or a prince and a princess. Now, those two are significant because the word's the same. We just have a different ending. A man and a woman. The way we say that in English, we put a little prefix on the word man, and it turns into a woman. Reminds me of Hebrew that has ish and isha. As the different gender inflects But you can, most words, like a teacher, if it's a man teacher, you just say teacher. If it's a woman teacher, professor, firefighter, you don't say firefightress. No. Most terms are used interchangeably. That is, there's one common term to describe both. There's a baker and a baker, an author and an author. You don't normally say authoress. That I suppose the ESS sometimes. You do say prophet and prophetess. So sometimes there are some words that take that. A student and a student, that's the same term. Although husband, you don't say husbandess, you say wife. Two actual separate terms there for that. So sometimes, like king and queen, they are separate terms. Sometimes, like prince or princess or prophet and prophetess, they are the same word, but with a different ending on the end as we go through all of these different genders. Finally, we come to the singular and the plural. The singular is I or me. The plural is we or us. Notice how the terms actually change. There's some good inflection there. You, if I'm speaking to one person, and you, if I'm speaking to more than one. So for the second person, you can't really tell. Is it singular or plural? Not in modern English. If you're from the South, you can say y'all, I suppose, and that would be more than one. And then third person is him or her, and then third person plural is they or them. Now, in Old English, you can say thou or thee. That would be first person or second person plural, second person singular. And then ye would be second person plural. Now we don't have this in modern English, but in Old English you do have that. And that helps to explain the words of Jesus when he's speaking to Nicodemus and he says, "Marvel not that I said unto thee, unto you singular Nicodemus," but then he says, "Ye must be born again." That's not just you, Nicodemus, you all must be born again. And so, both in Old English and also when we come to Greek, we're going to be able to tell to how many people is this being addressed? Is this just to one, or is this a plural in view?